and welcome to episode of the Quotes and Mirrors podcast.
I
I
was
am
just gonna say
Tyrell James.
another episode.
Yeah,
Word, just another
I'm Tyrell
episode.
James. I'm
And
Tyrell
I am
James.
Uncommonterry, and this is Quotes and Mirrors.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
all right, man. I'm ready to get into it. And I had a stressful day already, and this is my relaxation. You know what I mean? For
All right.
real. So, for those of you that don't know what we do here, this is again Quotes and Mirrors. We're going to choose a quote. We've already chosen a quote. If you're watching, it's running across the bottom of the screen. We basically are going to reflect on that quote, hence quotes and mirrors. All right, we trust that you are intelligent enough to digest that. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. My man Tyrell, it was your selection, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and quote the quote.
All right. So the quote is "Be peaceful, not harmless." I tried to figure out who in the world said this. I spoke to a friend of mine who said this a little while ago, and I was supposed to reach out to him to ask him where he got the quote from, but I didn't do it.
Mm,
But I went on Google and I was trying to find it, and I still couldn't find exactly who said it. Now, I did find something that said you can't truly call yourself peaceful unless you're capable of great violence. If you're
mm.
not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're harmless.
We was looking at the same Google. That's what happened.
Okay.
Yep. When you Google and then I Google, it'd be the same thing.
Uh,
That's what I found too, and I thought it was kind of interesting. It was actually it was a post on that site Reddit, which by the way apparently is obviously pretty popular, but I've never been a part of it. So
I used to use Reddit to watch football games when they weren't streaming them in my area, but they
I,
shut that down because apparently that's illegal. But I found another way.
well, nonetheless, I couldn't find the origin of the quote either, but I freaking I love this quote, dude. I love this quote. This is actually going to be like a part of what I now teach my children.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we teach them, it's hard because you teach them not to fight each other. You know what I mean? You teach them that violence doesn't solve anything, but it does render them if you cannot explain it to them, if you cannot come to them from this perspective, I would imagine it does render them harmless, and they feel like, okay, if I'm not supposed to fight, but then I am supposed to fight when somebody hits me, but then violence isn't the answer. What exactly am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? And I don't find balance in very many places, but in this quote, yeah. Yeah. I'm right there where I need to be. And
Hmm.
it reminds me of when I was young, my father said to me that look, it's not necessary, you shouldn't be out to fight anybody. Even if they come against you, your position should be defense. And he told me, feel free to explain to them, I do not want to hurt you. But if I have to hurt you to prevent you from hurting me, I will do that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what? This right here, I told you, this is just it's a few pounds away from being a tattoo. I swear to God. Once I get like I want, man, I'm trying to tell you, it's gonna be a tattoo for real. I got a couple of them, but I'll tell you about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's my initial take on this quote. Let me hear you.
Well, when I first heard this, I was thinking, "Well, that's how I've been living my life." I love when I hear something that just it's like a stamp of approval. It's like, "Oh, I've been doing this the right way," uh,
Yeah.
because I'm very peaceful.
Hmm.
I ain't harmless. Like, I, wa- like I want peace. I want
Hmm.
peace, and um, there's a rapper. Actually, one of my this is going to sound funny. One of my favorite
Uh-oh.
rappers, Ransom.
Oh,
Not me.
okay.
Not me.
Not you.
There is a
Okay, so
rapper in Jersey named Ransom who has more notoriety, more success
okay.
than me. You know,
Okay.
of course, and he was actually part of the reason that I stuck with Ransom Relic because I
Right,
wanted to
right,
make sure that I separated
right.
myself from him. But he also still is one of my favorite rappers.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
I can't remember his exact line, but it was something to the something like, I don't ever want to have to use my gun again. I don't ever want to forget how to use my gun.
Mm. Okay.
I think it was somewhere something like that, right? But that was that was, it just spoke volumes to me, because it's like, look, I want to be peaceful. I really really want to be peaceful, but I never want to
Right.
get to the point where I am so peaceful that I am now harmless.
Right. Right. Right.
Mike
Absolutely.
Tyson, Mike Tyson had a similar quote to, and I'm mad. I'm even trying to remember it. I'm gonna mess it all up. But he basically was yeah, I can't remember it. I'd have to watch that interview again. But
Mm.
basically, like there is, like, for me, let me speak from my personal experiences. So for me, it's like there's a monster. Like, you don't go through the things that I've gone through in my life without a monster being created.
Okay.
And I have to tame the monster
Mm.
and tell him, listen, you can never, I can never put you in the position where you're the one that's just leading and you're the
Mm.
one that's handling everything. I can't do that. You can't come in here until I tag you in.
Right.
But until then, I need you to chill out, because I want to be peaceful. I want
Mm.
to be peaceful. And I will let people know, listen, I'm peaceful, but I'm not harmless.
Mm.
And hopefully they get that point. Because if I have to turn to you, monster, and say I'm peaceful but I'm not harmless,
Right.
I'm gonna tag you in.
Look, I'm with you. Of course, I'm gonna be a little more raw. All right,
Okay.
because I don't call it a monster. In my opinion, everybody got a little nigga in them. Right.
Okay.
The thing is that when we come to the table so we can hash the situation out. I didn't bring my nigga to meet your nigga, but if your nigga show up, my nigga's here. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's here, and I'm the same thing with you. I don't want to have to tap him. And then you know what? I had a conversation. We were actually setting up some. We were doing some setting up another bank account that we're going to do investing from and that type of thing. And the guy was talking about the paperwork and talking about getting a safe to put the paperwork in. I was like, we already got you already got a safe, and I was like, that's another type of safe, right? But then, but what was dope to me is when I said, well, that's another type of safe. You know what he did? He looked at me. He said, "Stay dangerous." And I loved it, right? Because the thing is, people have to know that I can be, or that we can be. You have, and not just me, not just you. You have to respect in another person, and when you're conversing with another person, you have to respect that they can be dangerous as well. You know what I mean? You can't let your ego have you so puffed up that I'm the one. I'm the one.
Yeah.
And they used to be me, where I'm just like, there's two kind of people in this world. It's people that you mess with and me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And
the thing was, back then, at a certain point in time, that was the truth. Like, y'all, without telling stories, but crew. I mean, yeah.
look, I'm just saying. But even
I had to
making
throw
that.
it up. I'm sorry. I had to throw it up. My bad. All right. All right.
Oh, okay, no gang signs.
No,
All
no
right.
gang sign. No gang
But it's cool
signs.
because we ain't a gang. We're not a
Right.
gang.
We're
That
not
is a
a gang.
group insignia,
Yeah, exactly.
not
We
a
are
gang sign.
crew. We are
But
crew.
dude,
That's the difference.
indeed. But yo, I'm gonna tell you, even in that statement, just making that statement to somebody, you're still trying to maintain the peace. Now you are being, again, your ego is making a statement, so it's being a little threatening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a threat to the right person is an invite. You know what I mean? So you got to
Yeah.
be careful. You know what I mean? You do have to be careful because that cat may very well RSVP. All right.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful. But I love this, and I think that this is the way that everybody should be. It also brings to mind the quote, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You know
Right.
what I mean? Just kind of always being prepared. But you hope for the most peaceful outcome. You hope for it being a peaceful exchange. First and foremost, that should be your goal. It should not have to be that anybody has to get hurt. And if both people are thinking that if I have to be harmful, it's on the defense. If both people are thinking that, then nobody's on the offense and you're good to go. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, yeah, I love it. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly the way, because I don't think my younger children, I don't think they're going to understand it right away.
Right.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But so I got to figure out a way to illustrate it. You know how I am. I need pictures. All right. For all of you cerebral cats in the world, I need pictures. Okay. So try to think, and that's the way I understand things better, and that's the way that I tend to explain things in pictures. And
Right.
so I want to figure out exactly how to explain that to my children, because I just think I mean I would really like to meet the cat that came up with this,
Right.
because so many people are living it. They just haven't said this word. They haven't put this statement to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But they're
Right.
living it. I mean, truth be told, MLK was living it.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
but he definitely wasn't harmless. If he was harmless, what was all that rah about? Why was y'all so upset? You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
but at that point, he was causing harm to what was harming him. You know what I mean?
Right.
The whole
Mm-hmm.
goal was to just tear that down so that we could all be peaceful. Man, I can't be more in love with this statement. I'm trying to tell you. In my mind right now, I'm trying to think of what font I want this tattoo.
Yeah,
I'm
you know
saying.
what, man? When I first when my boy first said this to me earlier this year, we were actually talking about racial tension, and
Mm,
he was talking about um how there are some black people who try to be accepted by white people. They go out of their way to be accepted by white people. And we were talking about how disgusting that is, for them to, so a lot of them, they shuck and jive or whatever. You know, I kind of equate that to back in during slavery times when there were black slave catchers.
mm,
They are trying to be accepted by white people, or accepted by, let me say, accepted by white people who don't necessarily have the best intentions for you, who look at you a certain way, and you're still trying to be accepted by them. And so
mm-hmm,
that was the conversation that we were having. And he said, I refuse to be one of those guys that tries to be accepted not only by white people but by anybody. I'm not going to try to be accepted by anybody. He said, but especially white people who don't have the right intentions for
mm-hmm,
me. White
mm-hmm,
people who may see me a certain way, or who are either racist or there are racial undertones. Um, he said, I, he said to them, I don't want to cause any problems.
mm-hmm.
I want to be peaceful, but they need
Right.
to understand that I'm peaceful. I'm not harmless.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
100.
So yeah, so that's where this actually started for me. But then it just kind of grew from there. I was like that makes absolute sense. But then it's like, wait a minute, this makes sense across the board.
Yeah, yeah. It really does. Even in a situation like you said, racial tension. But just before that, I was mentioning my children. The relationship with my children should still be peaceful, but not
Mhm.
harmless. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for me
Mhm.
to for me to exact a consequence, you don't have to be mean. You know what I mean? You don't
Mhm.
have to be mean to your children in
Right.
order to and not harm in the way of hurt, but effective. You know what I mean? Because you when you have a child whose agenda 100% is to defy every rule that you lay down.
Right. Mm.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna be peaceful, but I'm not gonna be harmless. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I, not for those listeners. I don't want you to take it out of context. No, I don't mean that I'm beating the hell out of my kids. Now, don't get
You're
me
harming
wrong.
the agenda.
Say again.
You're harming the agenda.
I am harming the agenda, and I also don't want to have it completely deleted. Yeah, I will spank them, but I'm not gonna spank them. No, that you know, I'm not gonna spank him, but I'm not. I'm a spanker, but I'm not gonna spank him in frustration. When I and
Right.
see, that's what people mess up, right? When they go to spank their kids and they really getting things off of their chest when they do that. You shouldn't.
Hmm.
Nah, you shouldn't. If you frustrated, you shouldn't hit your kids. You know what I
Right.
mean? I move for me. It's a process. I give you instruction, I give you correction, and then I give you chastisement. And at every level, I tell you what the next level is.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So when they get spanked, it's not a surprise. You know what I mean? It's not a surprise. But there's also other moves that you can make because sometimes they just need to know that it's not about it. And again, even in this statement, I'd be careful not to push your ego out there in front because it will make decisions for you and justify it by this statement.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
You know what
sure
I mean?
will.
It will. It will definitely look back at you like, dog, I thought we wasn't harmless. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, I need you to fall back. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to find a way to, because it's not. I mean, it's the word harm obviously is going to, carry the tone of pain or discomfort or whatever, negative, essentially. You know what I mean?
Right. Hmm.
But if you're doing that to a positive end, you know what I mean? Then, obviously it's effective and it's in line with this code. It is what you need to be. Because, like I said, you don't have to be mean to your kids. I don't want my kids to be afraid of me.
Right.
I do want them to fear consequence.
Right.
I do want them to recognize that I and my wife are the individuals that will determine consequence. You know what I mean? But I don't need you to fear me. I don't walk in the
Right.
room. I don't need you to tremble. Nah, I want to be peaceful. I want to be able to talk to you. I want you to be able to talk to me. But again, I want you to be able to trust me either way. All right. If
Hmm.
I say you can get a milkshake, then you're going to get a milkshake. If I say you're going to get your behind whoop, you're going to get your behind whoop. I want you to be able to trust me either way. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But you don't have, because I was talking to my father about that. Like, y'all remember, he was never mean.
Hmm.
He was never mean. Even when if he spanked me, my mother spanked me, they were never mean about it. I didn't feel like this cat just wants to hurt me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
What they conveyed and what they communicated was, look, this is a line right here, and we told you what it takes to stay on this side of that line. We also told you what happens if you go across that line.
Right.
And when you go across that line, now here come the harm, right? But
Hmm.
it's not for the purpose of harming you. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
to the purpose of interrupting that disobedience.
Hmm.
And it's just, man, I love this, man. It just opened up things for me because, again, like I said, a lot of people are living this, but maybe they haven't heard the statement or haven't made this statement. But being able to put it into words like this, it's a blessing for me, man, because it just, this is kind of, like you said, this is the way I live my life. This is the way I prefer to be.
Hmm.
But when you don't know exactly how to say something, it's hard to be understood.
Right. Hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'm
So you said something one time, and I was going to actually take one of your quotes and make
okay.
it a quote for like the next time that I pick the quote. It's
Okay.
going to be, but I've been meaning to ask you if this was an original quote because it 100% sounds original. But the only reason that I'm going to bring it up right now is because it fits what we're talking about.
Okay.
You said, you said, and correct me, I want to make sure I say this right.
Mm.
I'll whip cream and I'll whip ass, but I'm all out of cream.
Look, let me just start off. Yes, that is an original quote, and
Yes,
I'm
thank
even gonna
God.
say,
I was hoping that was original. Okay.
I'm even gonna say, to God be the glory on that, because he gave me what's necessary for me to be able to put my thoughts into a concise one-liner. You know what I mean? And yeah, and as a matter of fact, that quote that well now quote, but that came to me in conversation with my 11-year-old,
Right.
and talking to her about and again, I guess the same thing because it is like, look, I can definitely whip cream. We'd all prefer that. It's sweeter.
And that's
Yeah,
peaceful.
yeah. It's you want to share that. You want to put it on a little dessert, something like that. You know what I mean? But I also whip ass right now, homie. I'm all out of cream. So I'm saying, so your choices went from here to here. You know what I mean? So now I got
you could have had whipped cream.
Could have. You know what I mean? It could have been sweet too, homie. Right. You know what I mean? Could have been sweet, but now you got that lane. You done narrowed that lane down to here. I got tunnel vision. That's all I got left. That's all I got left. And I wasn't even in this lane when we first started this conversation. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even here. You know what I mean? I was chilling. I wasn't swerving lanes or nothing. You know what I mean? I was chilling. Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
But for me, it actually took me back to one of my quotes, one of my original which is I walk through my life holding an olive branch extended in front of me. This is a long quote, by the way. But
yeah, it's long. It's long already.
I know, right? But I walk through life with an olive branch extended in front of me and a sword behind me.
Right.
Because I want people to always know that I come in peace first.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ever want you to even see the sword. That's why the sword is behind me, because I don't want you to ever feel threatened or intimidated by the sword. It's behind me. It's hidden. Right. And you don't even know that I have that sword in my other hand until you knock that olive branch out of my lead hand. And then I cut your neck or I cut your throat with that sword. Now, like, oh, you thought I was only peaceful. No. Dude. There's something else. I got another hand. Okay.
Yo, it's such a glorious and universal concept, homie. You know what I mean? I love, and also there's, the story in the Bible. I believe when it was it the walls of Jericho, or that's when it was coming down. They was rebuilding some walls, and obviously don't quote me on this because I don't remember exactly what the scripture is. But in the Bible, they were rebuilding the wall with a tool in one hand, like a hammer in one hand and a sword in the other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they had to be prepared for the enemy to come and try to stop them from rebuilding this wall. You know what I mean?
Check me out. I'm biblical.
Huh?
Check me out. I'm biblical.
All right. Well, just because you use the Lord name in vain don't make you biblical. All right. I'll just figure I'd put that out there for the people. But yeah, it's the same concept, and I think the thing that I love it, I love that the be peaceful comes first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? I love that that comes first. That needs to be the focus. That needs to be the goal. You know what I mean? And it's a comma there. So just say pause a second and digest that I mean to be peaceful first.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean to be peaceful first. I come in peace, however you want to say it. It's not even like I'm not looking for you to read me and see that I come in peace. I'm telling you, it's peace first. That's what I want first and foremost. All right, let's pause for a second and digest that. And we can actually stay there. We don't ever have to get to the not harmless part. Right. You know what I mean? We can actually stay there if we both came in peace, right? But I love that that's the way that it starts. But I also love that it's not a period there. You know what I mean? It gives you some room to fight for yourself. It gives you room for self-respect. It gives room for caring for your family, defending your family. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm trying to tell you, I ain't in front. I'm a little, I am a little envious of whoever said this because I really wish I would have said this first. You know what I
Well,
mean?
if we can't ever pinpoint who said it, I'm gonna take credit for it.
Um, I mean, we already said that we don't know who said it.
I don't care what we
So
said. I'm talking about what I'm gonna say.
you you remind me of Nipsey Hussle. He said, "F what they saying. I'm saying this." My man.
Exactly.
R.I.P. Nip. R.I.P. Nip.
Right.
My
Rest in
man.
peace. Rest in paradise, King.
For
So,
real.
oh, all right. Now you know I always got to try to throw a little monkey wrench in all of our quotes, right?
All right, go ahead.
So,
Are you looking for the monkey?
yeah, what the hell did I do with my monkey wrench? I forgot
Well,
that fast. Hold up, yo.
look, man. I was waiting on it too because I was interested. I'm interested in what kind of opposition, what position of opposition you can actually take in reference to this quote. I'm curious, so I
Well, no,
want you
it's
to think
actually
about
not opposition. It's. I think it is. Hold on. Let me see if I can talk my way back into it. That's crazy. It left my mind that fast. Um,
it. Pick
I
up a
think it
pen
was.
and pad, or you can write it down if it come across.
I'm gonna lose it. Um. So, um, the this is leaning more towards the harm in harmless.
Okay,
Um. Oh, I got it.
say it quick.
I know, right? So, no, no. Actually, this goes back to the peaceful part.
Say it
So,
quick.
so as men
Uh huh.
with egos,
Right.
we get confronted with certain situations or whatever, and our ego is like, "Hey, let me take the lead here." And
Yeah.
we have this internal struggle, and we're like, "I can't let you take I can't let you take the lead here. We have to be peaceful first. We
Uh
cannot
huh.
be, we can't just jump to harm. We got to be peaceful first. If we see a situation where we are able uh to walk away
Mm-hmm.
and keep this situation peaceful, make sure that everybody goes home with all of their blood, all of their teeth, and their life.
Mm-hmm.
Then as a man and as a responsible man with a family, and with the business and with whatever else that we have going on, it's like
Responsibilities. Okay.
responsibility. Exactly. It's
Mm-hmm.
time to just go ahead and walk away. So at what point, at that point, you walk away, and then your ego is like, yo, how you just walk off like that? Like, go back, do something. Like, we don't have to be harmless. Like, how do we separate ego? How do we sit ego down and be like, shut up? You can't take the lead here. I understand that you want to go and be harmful,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't do this right now, especially when, again, as men, I'm gonna speak from my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
There's situations that I've had to let go for whatever reason, and I've
Yeah.
just had to let it go, and it's eating me up inside because I know I can handle this. I know I can go do what I need to do, but I have to let it go for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard. It's hard at that point because there are times where it's like I don't want to be peaceful.
Right.
I don't want to be peaceful. I don't want to be harmless. I want to
Right.
be violent. you know, I
No,
want to
it's a
be very,
choice.
very violent.
It's a choice.
Hmm.
That's I would agree. It's a choice, and even as men, like you said, you got to remove ego, right? Because the thing it is, when you think about be harmless, as one word, excuse me, don't be harmless. As one word, it means don't cause. I mean, cause harm, but
When necessary.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking in a situation. And see, first of all, if you are of a peaceful mindset from the gate, then there's a greater degree of rationale that is available to you
Hmm.
as a peaceful minded person. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's my father used to tell me wisdom before war. You know what I mean? And so you have a greater like I said, a greater rationale available. So Your instincts, they are to defend. It's not to pursue. And you also, with that, you have a foresight, and you think to yourself, this is why I ain't never been to jail, by the way. All right. This is why I ain't never been in jail, because I'm peaceful first. I'd rather wisdom before war. You gotta think about it. Right. Yeah, I could bounce your head off your back, right? Mm-hmm. Then I could go to jail. Right.
For everybody that doesn't know exactly what that means getting punched in the face and your head snaps back so hard that your head bounces off your back. I just wanted y'all to understand exactly what he meant by that. All right, go ahead.
I appreciate you. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, I could do that. And I might even, you know what, the truth in that situation, I might even be justified by, like, my wife might even feel like, yeah, you should have gave it to him like that. You know what I mean? But now, first of all, obviously, if you bounce your head off your back, something has been horribly overextended. All right? All right? So in that case, chances are I'm getting locked up. Right? Because even if it was, you still got to prove, you know, just because you feel like it was self-defense. Mm-hmm. In many cases, you still got to go in there to prove that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So now, what is the acceptable amount of time to be away from my wife and children in the legal system? What is the acceptable amount of time for my children to come and speak to me on the phone through a glass wall, or to see me like this here? What's the acceptable amount of time? Is there one? You know what I mean? And so, and you might figure, okay, because I ain't go front. There is a situation, which I don't know. I guess they're locked up too. But if I was to catch somebody, misappropriately handling one of my daughters, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the business. I got to get you off of my daughter.
Right.
You know what I mean? But even in that, it's a lot easier for you to prove a defense situation because this is another thing Pops always taught me. When the cat hit the ground, unless he coming back up at you, you don't have to keep going down at him.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he told me, he said, when he hit the ground, circle him. Circle him. That's it. Just circle him. Let him know that from whatever angle you decide to come, should you decide to come, I'm available. You know what I mean? But once you hit the ground, like, you don't have to, and that type of rationale, like, you don't have to stomp a cat out. So many cats are in jail because they let the ego take control, and the ego don't care. The ego does not matter, because when you go to jail, the ego gonna go with you there too. He don't care. Right. Don't matter to him. You know what I mean? He got you locked up.
Get you killed in there.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but you gotta have so you gotta be peaceful first. So even as men, right? And there's different definitions of man, by the way.
Right.
Based on whether or not you had your father in your life, based on, even if you did, what your environment was, what you were taught by that individual, different definitions for man. You know what I mean? Many of them are toxic because many of them are egotistic. Right. You know what I'm saying? But even being a man, if you think peace first, then your instincts and your reactions, your reflexes, whatever, I think they'll take care of you. But if you let that, like you say, you let that ego go, it's gonna, it ain't nothing you can do once it's out there but follow it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but my ego say, "Hey, let's go to jail." No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to go there. And even in that, right, you have to turn and you have to explain to your wife, or you have to explain to your children. It's not that I don't love you. We just got to take another route. Right? Mm-hmm. Because just because I don't put my hands on this cat, I don't mean I can't put paperwork on this cat. You know what I mean? That don't mean I can't take a legal route that's gonna have him hemmed up beyond the instant gratification. And when I say instant, I also mean the momentary gratification of the physical contact, because it don't last. You know what I mean? It don't last when you got look at you. well, let me
What
say,
doesn't last?
well, let me say this.
I didn't beat
It,
some people up that I'm still happy about.
well, let me say this. It could be heavily interrupted by collateral fallout. You know what I mean? It could be
Okay.
heavily interrupted. So, even as a man, yo, I'm definitely will continue to teach my children. Be this man, I'm telling you, this is going right in the bag. Be peaceful, not harmless. You just gotta find another way to come at cats.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing too, in your decision to ponder of how to bring the pain, now you're not so obvious. You know what I mean? You're not so obvious. They can't see it coming. They don't even know. Some of them may think you're not going to respond. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that gives you a greater opportunity to respond. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I'm with this from a couple of different angles, buddy. I absolutely love this. I really and even after this, I actually still want to dig and see who said it, um,
Yeah.
because the mind that put this together deserves credit. That was
Right.
I'm sorry, but you said that was going to be you, very possibly though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It could very well be me. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about just changing that unknown right now to Tyrell James.
I mean,
Yeah.
ain't much that anybody can do about it. You know what I mean? But real
No,
rap.
I'm too creative to steal anything from anybody, so I'm not going
Word
to take
up.
credit for anything. But yeah, man, I think that you mentioned bring the pain. You said bring the pain, and I think
Mm,
sometimes in being peaceful, you can still bring pain to somebody because if their intention is to create a situation that is hostile
mm,
and you are only peaceful and it works against what they're trying to do, it could cause them to do some self-evaluation to say, okay, I'm trying to be violent. They're
mm,
handling this in a peaceful way, especially when they know you have the ability to be harmful and you're
mm,
still being I'm sorry, you're still being peaceful, not harmless, but you're still being peaceful. You're still handling them
mm.
with peace. So I think, it could kind of disrupt things for them and make them do some self-evaluation, which could even lead to growing pains. So in a peaceful way, I'm still bringing pain.
Right.
I'm bringing pain to the way that they're thinking. I mean, as there was a great philosopher, great philosopher, by the name of Method Man, that said, "I came to bring the pain, hardcore to the brain." And that's exactly.
Yo, shout out to Math. That's what's up. You know what I mean? That's what's up. He left his mark. He left his mark.
Yeah, yeah, he absolutely did.
Yeah, man. I Oh man, you know what? See, you're contagious. You're even right through the screen. You're contagious because I had a thought in my head, and I mean, because that's what thoughts are, right? Um, I just lost it, man. Well, hopefully it'll come back.
Well, just text me. I mean, the show will be over, but text me.
Well, I
Call
mean,
me.
but it wasn't just for you, okay? It
Got
wasn't.
you. Right.
It wasn't just for you. I mean, we hope somebody is listening. You know what I mean? But I can't remember exactly what it was. But anyway, I just have to double back to the fact, just to the mindset, because this isn't a switch that you can flip. I think for many people this is I'm gonna say this isn't a switch that you can flip. For many people, this is definitely a lesson that they will learn, right?
Hmm.
Excuse me, because being harmless, balling up in a ball because a bully is beating you. Come on, man. That is
Hmm.
not pushing you forward, homie.
Nah,
You know what I mean?
nah.
That is not that is not an integrity issue. That is not strengthening your character by any means, and it certainly is doing nothing for your brand. Okay,
Right. And it's not peaceful.
you're right. And see that okay. That was the other part of earlier when you were saying you can't be peaceful without being able to be violent,
Mhm.
because peaceful is a choice, right?
Right.
So if you choose peace, that is also evident of you being capable of violence.
Exactly.
But if you are capable or incapable of violence, that's not peace, man. Not
Right.
PEACE.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? You know what I mean? And you don't want to be there. And that's another thing, man. We got to find a better way to say stuff. That's why I love this right here. But as men, you were talking about earlier, you tell your son, don't be no punk,
Hmm.
but you don't tell them what punk mean exactly. You know what I mean? You don't tell them how that applies. You don't tell them how it doesn't apply. Like when your boy call you a punk because you walk off because somebody's saying something because they just doing this here,
Hmm.
that ain't a punk.
Right.
That's easily an opportunity for you to be peaceful.
Right.
You know what I mean? Easy an
Hmm.
opportunity for you to be peaceful. And that's matter of fact, that's another thing that brings to my mind because I'm not running to no problem.
Right.
I'm also not running from it.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so what 50 say? People always think I got a problem. I don't have a problem. All I'm saying is if you want a problem, no problem. You know what I mean? Just be peaceful. But I'm not
50
dude.
also said if he can't find you, he's gonna shoot your mama's house up and make you come look for him. But
Well, well, I mean,
that's my next quote. Hey,
I
yo,
mean,
Big Bird, bro, could be my next quote.
look here. Look, sometimes you gotta bait the hook. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
There are some unorthodox ways of doing that, but sometimes you gotta bait the hook. I get it. Cause that's Jay right there. Let Jay find out you looking for him. He will drop everything he doing. He gonna find you. My man, I heard you were looking for me. I just made this easy.
we ain't talking about Jay-Z. We talking about another part of crew, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we talking about YG. All right. And you don't want to meet him in the context that I was just speaking of. All right. But yeah, man, man, I love it. But like I said, you just gotta find the way to say it, because like I said, you tell your son not to be a punk and you leave him to define what that is. So you leave the streets or the internet or whatever to define what that is. And that's what I love the most about this right here. It's just something that you, like you said, you lived your life like this, but this puts it into words. And words are important, man, because everybody don't get to see me live. Like we still don't know. We still don't know who said this. We got no idea who did this quote,
Mhm.
right? But his words are here. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or her words are here. Or their words are here.
And on that note, we are coming to an end.
All right. Well, I definitely need to wrap it anyway, because I don't know if you heard in the background, my doorbell is going off. There's another appointment that I need to get to.
Cool. So before we get out of here, real quick, do you have your quote for next week?
You know what? I do have the quote for next week. I sent it in the email. Give me a second. Let me pull it up if I can. Um, oh man, I'm trying to pull it up real quick because I got them people on my porch. The quote for next week. This is a longer quote. A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts, so he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusion.
Hey, I
So,
hope it's enough buttons on the computer to put all of those words in there. I tell you what, I know you got to get to them because they on your doorstep. So go
right.
ahead and sign out. You do your part. You can get up and walk off, and I'll do the rest of it.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I don't remember exactly. What do you mean? What do you mean you do my part?
Just tell them you're leaving.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Quotes and Mirrors. I have another obligation to get to. I appreciate y'all listening. I am Uncommonterry.
And I am Tyrell James. And on that note, and I quote, peace out.
Peace.